You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
Let's get you across the Tasman. Adam Peacock is our regular Australian correspondent out of codesports.com.au. Thanks for joining us as always, Adam. Plenty happening on your side of the ditch, but let's start with the Ashes happening on the other side of the world. First Ashes test, one for the ages. Won by Australia by a couple of wickets. How big, how significant a win was this for Australia?
Well, I'm going to flip it, and afternoon, Piney, I'm going to flip it for a second and remind your listeners of what the English have been saying in the days after that dramatic test at Edgbaston. And it's almost Trumpian, the way that they've received a loss as a win. It's like, we forced Australia to play boring cricket, we were the better side, this, that and the other, it felt like a win. No, it didn't. You lost. It was... I'm blown away by the response. Basically trying to shove it down Australia's throat to say that you played your cricket, but our cricket was better and it had the fans captivated, which it did. I'll give them that. But the whole point of playing a test match is to win the test match. And that's what Australia did in the end. And granted, it was a really tight match and it could have gone either way. I'm not saying it was definitely Australia's to win. Mate, there were about 50 moments in the match that could have gone either way and could have been the definitive action of the match. But it was it's been a weird couple of days reading what the Poms have had to say about their 1-0 deficit in the series.
Yeah, I read those reports too, and I thought they were very odd. Very, very odd in terms of a reaction to a loss. I can only imagine that it's their way of trying to pump themselves up for the remaining 4 test matches. See, over here, we're used to the Australians being the brash ones. But
yeah.
it's the English now.
Yeah, and it's because they're led by a bloody Kiwi.
Yeah, true.
Yourselves over there, like you wouldn't believe. No, I love what Brendan McCullum, in all seriousness, I love what he's done with this team because it is unmissable test cricket. If you've got any inclination at all to view test cricket, you're in love with this because it's captivating. But on the flip side, Australia have decided we could either match them the way that the English go about it under Baz, or we could play just how we view how Test cricket should be played with the playing stocks that we've got. And you talk about that brashness, that's been wiped away a bit. I mean, Dave Warner's still there and he's a bit brash, and some of the, like Marnus carries on a bit with appeals and things, and Steve Smith with his actions when he's batting. But under Pat Cummins' captaincy, the brashness and the up-yourself nature that Australian cricket's been accused of from time to time, I reckon it's been not washed away entirely, but a long way to it. And, yeah, I just love the way that Pat goes about his business and the way that he's leading this team.
Yeah, and what a test match for him, particularly being there at the end with a captain's knock of 44 not out. But just a word on Usman Khawaja. 141 and 65, a terrific match double for him. I think you and I even spoke about doubts around his ability to score in England. Well, he's put those to bed early.
Yeah, fabulous. And through the power of concentration, he was like anti-Bazball the way he went about it. He was just so patient, put away the bad balls, and yeah, he was a deserved man of the match. And all the Australians, like Pat, when he was asked about the win, I think in his first or second sentence, he credited Usman Khawaja with the way he went about it, and that speaks volumes. So happy for the guy. He's now scored tons in just about every kind of surface or environment in Test cricket at the ripe old age of 34, 35, like mid-30s. Great for him, and a top guy as well. Really funny guy, and good on him.
Yeah, good on him indeed, and can't wait for the second test at Lord's starting on Wednesday. Other matters around this week: Queensland have beaten New South Wales 32-6 to seal a 2-0 State of Origin series win. 1 game to go. Has the fallout in New South Wales rugby league circles been typically measured? Adam, has it?
No, not at all. And rightfully so. It's State of Origin. They got pumped, and yeah, they had a few things or a lot to go against them in terms of injury. Nathan Cleary out, Api Coruscant out, Tom Trbojevic 2 minutes into the game does his tech, Latrell Mitchell out again. So there's 4 of your best players not playing the match, but still, they just had no idea in attack, New South Wales, and unfortunately, as good a guy as he's been, a magnificent ambassador for rugby league in the state of New South Wales, particularly Brad Fittler. It's a big question mark whether or not he sees out or coaches his side in 2024. A lot of people calling for change. There's been lists all week of potential candidates to take over from Fittler, and this is before anyone from New South Wales Rugby League said anything about his future. So, yeah, the response wasn't exactly measured, but that's what you get out of an event like State of Origin. It's a heightened event, so there's a heightened reaction.
And Andrew Johns quickly moved on from that defeat, and I see he's turned up in the Wallabies camp. Eddie Jones has got him in to help work with his halves ahead of the Rugby Championship. Yeah,
so if you cast your mind back 15 years, Eddie almost got Andrew Johns to rugby. Like, I think at one stage he thought he had him across the line to play number 10 for the Waratahs and then potentially for the Wallabies. This was later in Andrew's rugby league career, but he's always maintained a liking of rugby union, Andrew Johns. So he was just down there at Coogee Oval in the sunshine on a Friday arvo, just running the fly halves through some first receiver movements and patterns and passing and things like that. So Bernard Foley was there at the ripe old age of, 43 now, Bernard, and a few of the younger guys as well. And Eddie has no qualms whatsoever in opening up the coaching ranks within his own setup to anyone he sees fit. And he's a massive admirer of Andrew Johns, and Andrew Johns likes his rugby union. So, yeah, that's how that came about. And he'd be mad not to give it a go, because let's face it, the Wallabies need all the help they can get out of the Rugby Championship.
Just on this too, is this feud, this ongoing brotherly feud between Andrew Johns and his brother Matthew, is it ongoing? Is it still a thing? Is it actually a thing?
I guess so. I just don't think Andrew has the mental capacity, or not the mental capacity, I shouldn't put it that way, the care factor to just sit there and listen to Matthew wind him up. He just doesn't need that in his life, I don't think. So he's just like, you know what, I'm not going to talk to you while State of Origin's on, stuff you. And I wouldn't call it a feud, it's just brothers being brothers. So yeah. I'm sure they'll kiss and make up one day. And Matthew's huge over here. He does podcasts and writes articles, and he's on television every 5 minutes. So he's everywhere, and he's a really talented guy. But Andrew, he's not quite the showman that Matthew is, even though he's very good on television in an analytical sense and entertaining in his own kind of straight-faced way. But, yeah, I just don't think he can put up with that crap at the moment. So he's just removed himself from it for a while.
Fair enough. So much happening on your side of the ditch, Adam. Thanks so much for joining us to keep us up to date. Have a good weekend. We'll chat again next Saturday.
Thanks, Piney. I'm about to embarrass myself on a golf course, so have a good one.
Well, I hope you have a good one too, Adam. Thanks, mate. Good luck. Adam Peacock, codesports.com.au, our regular Australian correspondent, Saturday afternoons here on Weekend Sport.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday, or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.